Welcome to new episode of Education Exchange from Iowa City, from the Public Access TV headquarters and the Department of Education in Iowa City. It's November 7th, and it feels like July 7th. Beautiful weather in Iowa City. And we are lucky to have today a bouquet of eminent people from West High School. And on my right side is the remarkable principal there, Greg Schultz, an old friend of mine, not old age, but years of longevity in education. And on his right side is Simran, who is the chief editor or editor-in-chief of the West Side Story. And next to her is Sarah. And Sarah is the photo editor of the, is that right?
Yes.
Of the publication. And then Nina, who is a news editor. Welcome to our first session. This session will be followed by another session where 3 other musketeers are going to replace you. And before we start, Greg, I would like to introduce my guest or co-host, a remarkable young woman from California with experience in Hollywood and in New York, in TV, in advertising, as well as in physical education. And come here. Just show you, she shows the audience your picture, and she has already a business in Iowa City. She moved from California after this whole young career in film and in video and in TV. And she's doing her business now in Iowa City, and now she's my co-host in this. And she will be running the second half with the video and broadcast of West High School. Thank you. And the other unknown soldier who's there and is not in the camera, as a matter of fact, is Sarah Jane Whitaker, who is the journalism genius. You're the one who's behind all these achievements. And you deny even yourself. You just keep low profile down there. And in the meantime, I would like to start the show by by a piece of news that this principal has won for the first time maybe in Iowa City this remarkable award. Any one of you would like to address that and tell us? Go ahead.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, a senior by the name of Aaron Carter kind of spearheaded the effort to nominate Dr. Schultz for Administrator of the Year, which is an award given by the Iowa High School Press Association. And yeah, it's awarded to an advisor who is supportive of journalism in their high school and goes above and beyond to make things happen. So Aaron started writing this letter for Dr. Schultz to nominate him, and he asked me and a few other people to help. And it was very well deserved. He earned the award and was presented it at the conference this year at an advisor luncheon. And yeah, last year I wrote a couple of stories where I had to ask Dr. Schultz some fairly tough questions. And he was always as transparent and open as he could be. And he does everything in his power, at least to us, to make things happen for the West Side Story and make it better.
What was your feeling when you got this recognition?
Oh, I was humbled and surprised and did not think that it was, I didn't know that it was a possibility. So, but when I heard about it, I was very flattered and excited to learn that the students recognize the fact that I value student journalism to the extent that I do. And I was, like I said, humbled and flattered by the recognition.
Greg, over the years I have seen you so interested in the visual and audio art, and you have done a lot of camera work too, very artistic camera work. Can you tell me something about this background?
I guess it probably goes back to my own high school experience. One of the things I did was I was a photographer. Of course, that was back in the old darkroom days, and so I had at least the
Just
skill.
like Sarah.
Yeah, probably a little differently. I learned the recipe to how to develop film and pictures, and I enjoyed the work. It's really hands-on work and creative work that I enjoyed quite a bit. So probably goes back to that, my roots. But as an administrator, I just always look for ways to give voice to students. But I also know that it can make administrators nervous when students' voices are heard and they're maybe acting under their age. I love journalistic voices because they are the ones that have learned about the editorial process, they learned about their responsibility, and they temper their responsibility with a really strong respect for journalism ethics. And so when they team those things up, I think you get a really powerful view of the school that is thoughtful and not just mad at this teacher because I got 5 points graded off or something, and then I'm going to lash out because that's not helpful. Student voice. That's just acting out, and it doesn't involve journalism. So.
Very good. As a matter of fact, my co-host Elmi Rapport Harris just met. She's a graduate of West High School. So that again is an important thing to mention. So now, Simran, tell me about your role as editor-in-chief. That's quite a task, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny because when I started journalism, I started it just on a whim, and I hadn't been very interested in becoming an editor or anything. But over the years, I guess my love for journalism has increased, and so as editor-in-chief, one of my biggest goals is keeping journalism fun, because I think sometimes a lot of people on staff, we're so passionate about what we do, we care so much about it. Sometimes people get a little bit stressed out because high school journalism is so difficult because you're managing journalism with your high school classes and sports and other extracurriculars. So sometimes a big part of my job is keeping morale high on the staff and keeping people motivated, because when they're motivated, they produce the highest content work that they can, and they're just excited to come to class and find more stories to tell and share.
Mr. Schultz, when he was giving the address to the graduates in the senior class this year, mentioned that you are, I think, in the top 2 newspapers in high schools in Iowa, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got a lot of recognition. Can you mention some of the recognitions? You don't have to mention all of them, but whatever comes to your mind. And I think Sarah and Nina can help you too.
I was recently named Designer of the Year for Iowa, and my design blog won 3rd place for a Quill and Scroll competition. But aside from me, also Sarah and Nina have won lots of awards too. Our entire staff wins so many journalism awards because they all produce such high quality content. And I think an important part of our staff and what makes it unique is that we create content because we're passionate about it, not because of the awards. The awards just come naturally because we produce the content that we do.
Are you planning a career in this area, or are you thinking of something different?
So I actually want to go pre-med in college, but I'm thinking about majoring in journalism, and I want to incorporate journalism with becoming a physician and maybe using some sort of journalism.
Medical
perhaps.
Publications and,
Yeah,
and all that, yeah.
Something like that.
Wonderful. Let's move to Sarah. Sarah, how did you get interested in photography and you became the editor?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in photography, but I never really had a way to use it or grow in it. So I decided to take intro, which is our class that we take before we apply to the journalism program at our school and stuff. And I took it not wanting to be on staff, just wanting to learn more about photos. And then I realized that journalism is such an amazing way to take photos and get new opportunities and meet more people. I started just wanting to be more of a senior portrait, family portrait photographer, but really found a love for sports and events and covering that. And so then I applied to staff and spent a year on staff and just really enjoyed going to events and getting out there, and this year I'm photo editor.
Great. And Nina, two questions I want to ask you. First, what is news editor? What does it mean, news editor? And the second one, how did you get to be writing for LA Times?
Well, I'll take the easier question first. What is news editor?
Yeah.
Basically, in our print publication, we have different sections. We have like news, entertainment, feature, opinion, and there's an editor assigned to each section to basically look over the section and make sure everything is going well, help assign stories, make sure writers have everything they need, designers have everything they need, photographers have everything they need. You're just kind of helping make sure things go smoothly, and you're also that go-to person for anyone who's in your section. I'll go to the LA Times question now. Last April, me and 4 other staffers went to Los Angeles for the National Scholastic Press Association conference.
With Mrs. Whitaker?
Yes, with Sarah too. And while there, we got a tour of the Los Angeles Times, and there was this guy there, and he told us about this program in Southern California for high schoolers to publish their work to a larger audience, but just in Southern California. And he asked us if we thought, we as in a group of people from around the nation, thought that it would have an appeal outside of Southern California. And almost everyone said yes. And about a week later, he sent out an email as a follow-up, and I was the first person to reply. So naturally, I guess, I got the position of kind of spearheading that effort, first in the Midwest and then kind of nationally. So sending out emails to schools across the nation and trying to see how we could get other schools involved.
From a very neutral and impartial outlook at what they do, what do you think about their efforts?
Oh, the West Side Story staff are exemplary in about everything that they do. I, have to just tip my cap to Simran and the job that she does as editor. I've been just the other day, a former principal, West Side called, Ed Barker called, and he said he had young man. He's now living in a retirement community, so he's got access to a lot of people around, and they had a copy of the latest West Side Story. And he was showing it to these other residents there, and they could not believe that A, this was a high school publication, and B, that they would do one of these every month. And I had to tell them, yes, you can actually now get the new copy, because the new copy came out the day after he called me. But the level of journalism that you'll find there is really second to none. And to be able to marshal such a large crew that Simran has done, and I just really have a lot of respect for the work that they do.
As a matter of fact, we need now to move you and replace you with the other 3 heroes tonight, and that should be easy. You take off your microphone and give it to the next person. And Isabel and Leila, you can come forward, please. And April. That's your microphone. And we are going to keep Mr. Schultz next to you. I think he was your principal at Northwest, right?
Vice principal, I believe, at the time. Yeah, in
And-
2004.
Okay.
I've only been at your office once, though, so. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. All right. Hello, Mr. Schultz.
Hi. Hi again.
Yes, how are you?
Very well.
And congratulations on becoming the new principal. From what I've heard, this is your first term or first year, is that right?
It's actually started my second year. Started
Oh, this is okay.
last year. Right.
Great, okay. And how has that been for you?
It's been a challenge every single day, but I've loved every day of it. So West High is a great institution, and very fortunate to be able to work with such a team of talented teachers and really talented students, as you've already seen.
Yes. From what I've heard thus far, it's been just an amazing achievements. Yeah, there's been many, it seems, and not just as a group, but also individually as well. And so that's really good to hear, coming from attending West High School in 2004. We do have a new set of group here. From my understanding, you ladies, are with the West High Weekly. Is that correct? Which is more of a broadcasting, more on that end of journalism. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we actually have a print and digital section to our West Side Story. And so through the digital section, we have an online that publishes daily 8 social media accounts and then a bi-weekly broadcast. So we work a lot on the broadcast.
Sure. And when you say 8 social media accounts, what does that mean exactly?
We have 2 Twitters, 3 Instagrams, there's 5 YouTube, Flickr, and Facebook.
Oh my goodness. And who manages those accounts?
We have a social media editor, but then other than that, we also have a digital editor-in-chief. So that would be me.
That would be okay. And what is your name?
Isabel.
Isabel. Okay. And then from Isabel, next to you.
I'm Asha, and I'm a videographer on the West Side Story, and I work on broadcast packages and also just content for the web.
Oh, very cool. And where do you get your inspiration from?
Just the district, on the district level, like Iowa City is so cool. And West High is a really cool place too, and just if you look around, you just find inspiration anywhere, honestly.
Amazing. Thank you.
And I'm Layla, and I'm the video editor and also the broadcast manager. So I run the broadcast, and I kind of look after all the videos that go out in the world.
And just to be clear on editing, from experience, I know how much time and effort it takes to put into editing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, with like our broadcast, we always have like something that happens that
Honestly.
that happens a lot. So like my part is trying to get like everything done and make sure everybody knows what to do and like gets everything done. And I've stayed up till 12 o'clock the night before trying to get all the things in for broadcast. I mean, if somebody has trouble with a package, which tends to happen,
My bad.
so we have to, it's fine. So if like anything goes wrong with the package, we have to like all group together and figure out how to fix this, and it's definitely a challenge sometimes, but I mean, in the end, it's really worth it to see the final product of like your video and like how much effort you put into it. It's definitely nice to see.
It's a nice accomplishment,
Yes.
right? Yeah, absolutely. And Mr. Schultz, I'm sure you know the great impact that the journalism team could make in not just the school, but also the community, I'm sure. Does that, reflect the stories and the current events that go out into the school and the public?
No, without a doubt, there are many, many stories at West High School, and as talented and as large as the West Side Story staff is, they'll never get to all of them. So expanding to a different media, as video has been able to do, I think has been an exciting change for their staff. It gave them enough extra outlet. They were publishing about once every 4 weeks and in print, but having the online, they've had fantastic stories online that I was hoping to see in print, but they've only have so much room in print. So it really has expanded the reach And then adding some play-by-play broadcasting last year, as Isabel did, really has also expanded the audience because it's brought in people who just want to check out in real time how things are going in basketball games, for example. So.
And knowing how Twitter works, how many followers do you guys have?
I think we have around 2,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great deal of
2,000
impact that you're
-ish,
making.
2,000-ish. Yeah, we have about 2,000 students at school, so.
Mr. Schultz, do you follow the Twitter?
I do.
You do?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually have their Twitter feed wired right into our digital announcements.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
when they put something up, it'll show up right up on our all the 12 screens that we have throughout the school. And so it's running a Twitter feed at the entire time. So I keep a Twitter list, and that list, everything that gets published, that list goes right on to all the students walking around school.
Oh, very good. So in some ways, you kind of vet what goes on, seeing the list prior to.
No, well, yeah, I make the list. I choose who to follow. But the West Side Story has high editorial standards, so I have no problem jumping onto the West Side Story athletic feed and our main news feed.
Sure, and it goes back to the journalism ethics that you spoke about earlier on. And I just am so honored to be sitting here with amongst some of the most talented women I've met thus far. And being a Westside alumni, it just makes me so proud. So thank you for joining us here today. And
Maybe we could talk a little bit about Isabel and Asha. They've been putting together packages for that gets broadcast to the students on Thursday morning. They put together about a 6-minute package. And you could talk about a couple of the stories that you put together recently, because they've been very high quality.
Okay. So recently I've put together a couple packages. The one I'm most proud of, it was Run for the Schools, and it was a 2-minute package, and Layla assigned me it, and thank you so much, like, it was great. And it was just following the Run for the Schools. It's an annual thing in Iowa City, and it's ICCSD sponsored, and it's a fundraiser, and it goes to the district, and it's a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon, and I just covered it, and I got interviews from West students, and they told me about their favorite experiences for Run for the Schools. And yeah, it was a really great package. Like, I thought it was just informative. Yeah.
oh, very good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, another one they did recently was this Allstate. And I don't know who's responsible for that one, but if you ever wondered what it's like to go through the process and how nervous it is to compete for Allstate position, they embedded a reporter. And they were able to really show that whole process. And, we routinely get about 58, 62 students involved in Allstate as Allstate musicians. So it's neat for parents to see, oh, that's what's happening down there.
Right. So how was you are talking about the structure of it? I mean, was it like a day-to-day, moment by moment, leading up to the event, or?
It pretty much followed once they got down to the venue. They reported on one student who went the wrong direction and had to get there, but it added a lot of humor and reality to the show. So, but what you're able to do, what I've been able to see them do is just like you would on your Channel 9 or 2 broadcast at 10 o'clock, where they'll put together a package. They've been able to do that. They know how to do B-roll. They know how to do voiceover. They know how to do so many different skills that didn't exist when I started teaching journalism back in the day. They're able to mimic that and really put together a really high quality product. So very proud of what they've been able to do in a short period of time, because we literally just put together some of the studio we put together last year, and we put together the mobile studio last year as well. So just Isabel and her crew last year could tear apart the mobile studio, put it back together, and have a ball game up and running on a 4-camera set faster than you could do a lot of other things. I think.
Isabel, tell us a little bit about that experience for you.
So Dr. Schultz came to us last year, to the sports editor, Aaron Carter, who worked closely with him, just asking if we would be interested in doing play-by-play and color commentary on basketball. And Aaron was all for it, and they needed someone else, and I was just like, sure, what the heck, why not? I like basketball. So Dr. Schultz really helped us get up there, and we got the cameras set up, and there were 3 anchors. Layla helped with video. We had a graphics guy, and the 4 of us would just stay up there and watch every game and commentate on it, just like ESPN is kind of what I tell people. But yeah, it's loads of fun, and you really get to know the school and the players a lot better when you're reporting on them exactly as it's happening.
Absolutely. Sounds very, very exciting. It also sounds like you've really maybe implemented some of the stuff that you had taught while you were in journalism.
Yeah, I just didn't do a lot of video journalism, so I was anxious to give it a try just because I know it has that extra reach. You get the yearbook once a year. I did a lot of that. I did 4 yearbooks in Switzerland, and then the newspaper can only come out, when it can come out, because it's it's a big endeavor. But the videos just added that extra reach that I've really been excited to see them add that on.
That's very
Mr.
good.
Schultz and Elliot, I would like you to introduce the unknown soldier. So come
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
stand in front
Hello.
of the camera and get you a little.
Sure. Hi. Sarah, I hope you don't mind me calling you Sarah. I know it seems very informal, but
We
I
have
don't go
couple
to
minutes.
I don't go to West Side School anymore, but I do recall having you as my photography teacher.
I remember.
Yes, which was it was actually a really cool class, and I enjoyed every second of it. Tell us a little bit about what you do now and your role in journalism.
I teach full-time journalism right now, and we do, like they said, digital broadcast. We do the website, social media. We have the print edition. I work with the best kids around, and I'm thankful for my job every day. So it's a great place to be.
Very good. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Mr. Schultz?
No, thanks for the opportunity. It's I really enjoy being able to showcase the work of these students. So it's really nice to get a chance to actually showcase the students themselves, because they are so often behind the camera, and now they're to the side of the camera too. So thank you so much for the opportunity. We really appreciate Dr. Al-Kadi and yourself taking this time to learn a little bit more about this fantastic program.
I couldn't agree more. As we approach the final moment of this impressive time we spent with both the leadership and the remarkable students and their accomplishments on behalf of PATV, it's my privilege to thank the guests, all of you, Trenton Orris for his technical and studio design work, John Karhoff and Michael Peterson, the executive producers, Dr. Hani Al-Kadi, our producer and host. Special thanks for having me today as a guest host. And this show will air during the next few weeks on cable channel 18 and 21, the PATV website, and starting tomorrow on YouTube. So thank you so much. From gorgeous Iowa City, have a good evening.